How's it going, everybody? My name is Mario, and you are fishing with Mario. Today, I decided to kind of show you guys something new. I haven't been able to get out to fish much between weather and work, which weather here in Colorado has been just absolutely crazy. I've had an old inflatable raft forever, and I decided to go ahead and turn that into a usable fishing boat. And I'm going to go ahead and call that the poor man's fishing boat because I am not going to put much money into this at all. Really, the real goal here is to get the trolling motor. That way I have it for future boats or whatnot. But that's the real goal here. I don't have a lot of money, so we're going to try to save as we do it. But ultimately, I'm going to try to take all of this and put it and turn it into a usable, functional, poor man's bass boat. So stay tuned. Okay, so the raft that we are working with is a Solstice Voyager. It's actually the cheapest raft currently out on the market. When I bought it, I think it was like the second cheapest. It's a six-person raft with like a weight capacity of 1,100 pounds. Now, I would never try to put that in there, but we do have that very large weight capacity, so I'm not too concerned about how much weight I'm putting into the raft. However, I am going to keep it to a minimum. So the first thing I was going to start with was creating a template for the front and the back of the boat, since those are kind of rounded and in a different kind of shape. Once we had the template created, we were then able to go ahead and take a full sheet of plywood and split that basically right in half, because the board I needed was only about 22 inches and just shy of 8 feet. So I was able to use one sheet of plywood, split it right down the middle, and we were good from there. Alright, so once my plywood was cut down to 22 inches, I went ahead and took the templates that we made earlier and traced that onto the board. Once that was traced on the board, I used my table saw to cut the round parts of the edges in order for it to fit well inside the raft. Typically, you wouldn't use a circular saw; you'd use a jigsaw. But my jigsaw wasn't currently in my garage, so I just used what I had. Once again, if you don't have all the nice, great tools, you can easily use what you have. This is the poor man's bass boat. Okay, so as I didn't have my jigsaw, I had to go ahead and round the edges real nice and smooth with my sander. Along with that, I went ahead and took my router with a round over bit, took it around all the edges really to round the edges off, and then I went back over and sanded those down as well. Okay, so once everything was sanded and rounded off on all the edges of the board, we really wanted to get the carpet on. So first we had to cut it down. I was able to buy a roll for about $24. We just used a sawzall to cut it while it was in its roll, rather than rolling it out and trying to cut a straight line or do any of those things. It actually worked a lot better than I expected. So after that rug was cut, we were able to use a spray adhesive that was water resistant, and we sprayed both the board and the rug down, and we actually did that twice, and then we tacked it together, and it actually seemed to hold pretty well. Then we went ahead and tied it all together real nice and tight with a stapler, and just going around the edges and just trying to make it as tight as possible. So when we were all finished up, we were able to flip that board over after gluing and stapling it together. This is what we ended up with. We were really happy. The lines were all nice and straight. That carpet was better than I thought. Alright guys, one thing I forgot to kind of show you, just put some backer rod right around the edges just to make sure the wood wouldn't shift too much inside the raft. and to make it nice and tight. Alright guys, so we have it on some sawhorses, so it looks a little funky, but there it is. We got it kind of in there. We got it kind of figured out, fitted. I love it. It is tight. It is solid. I'm excited to get my mount and get this baby out there. I got me a new Intex pump, quick fill. We're going to give this a fill. I also got just a few parts here to get the motor on. Just the Intex motor mount kit. So we're gonna go ahead and put this up, but we need to air it up, give it a try. So they all are numbered. We'll start with number 1. Like I said, I've had this tube for a little while, so you know, parts are wore down, coming off. But hopefully we can give it new life. Here we go. Okay, now the floor's in. We're gonna go ahead and air it up the rest of the way here. Okay, so continue on 1. Alright guys, so for this part we were gonna go ahead and stage up the motor and the motor mount on the back of the boat, so we couldn't have it completely on the floor. We decided to go ahead and get a couple of sawhorses with a board underneath to support it. I don't want any support on the back because I want to see how it's going to support the weight. Alright guys, so I bought the Intex Raft trolling motor mount. The Solstice trolling motor mount won't work because it just takes a very long time to get here, and it's $80. So I came up short with these. Won't reach where they need to reach in order to create stability out of the back side of the raft. So what we went ahead and did is we went down and got about 5 feet of this 1/2-inch copper pipe. We found just barely fits inside these rods here. Drilled a couple holes, bent it. So I'll show you that process as I go for the second one. Now I'm going to throw a little punch right here, drill the holes through, and then we're going to go ahead and bend this to get it to fit right. did do a second punch on the back side of it just because I didn't want to drill crooked and I wanted to stay in line with the screw. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and wallow out the holes. Huh?
Keep your palm flat so you don't smash your fingers. Right about there.
Guys, and here's kind of a few pictures of how it kind of got finished out. We did have to drill a hole in the front side of the copper pipe in order to get these clasps to fit on the front, and we just made a mistake and actually didn't get that on video. I apologize to you guys for that, but we will get better at this. But yes, we drilled the hole in the front, and it came together pretty good. You can see it's holding up the motor pretty well, and so it did a good job. All right, you guys, so I'm sorry I didn't really show you how I put this together, but ultimately I took apart, but it's one of those old lamps that have these goosenecks that bend nice and tight. So I wanted something like that for my deeper, which is a castable fish finder. I wanted to go ahead and attach that to my poor man's bass boat. So we did find that the end of this is pipe thread. So anything with lamps that you take apart is pipe thread, apparently. At least that is what the guy at Lowe's told me, which is kind of crazy. I never get that much help, and I'm doing something as weird as this, and I got the most help that Lowe's is ever willing to give. On the other end here, so I'll show you a little bit more when I get on the boat. This just goes through right where my oars used to have to go. And it had two holes on each side. Typically, I kind of used those holes for an anchor spot. I could just run this bolt through. This washer here, it'll stop it from rolling through. I can bend that any shape I need. This end right here goes into the deeper. The deeper is able to kind of float and move with the water in the boat. So the only thing I have a concern of is maybe this could, if for whatever reason this came loose from the boat, my biggest concern would be it pulling my deeper down, because the deeper is about a 350, at least it was when I bought it. So I don't have a lot of money to spend typically, so I don't want to lose that. How's it going, you guys? All right, so the poor man's bass boat is ready and we're set. We got the hard bottom setting in here already. We're about to pack up to go ahead and put this out in the water. The weather's gonna be crappy, it's gonna be cold, but that doesn't slow us down. Alright guys, we're all packed up. We got everything in the truck that we're gonna take with us today. Actually ended up with quite a bit more room than I anticipated. So that's pretty cool. We're going to Brush Hollow to give that a try. It's a lake that I've known is good. I've seen the fish that came out of there. However, I don't think on the shore that I'm getting anywhere near fishing where the fish are at. Not on shore. So, you know, I got my little deeper with me. We're gonna scan and we're gonna really take a look at this water, see where some structure is, fish a little bit, hopefully. And maybe we don't get out in the water. This weather is definitely not ideal conditions, but we're gonna give it a go. See you out there. This is where we're gonna go ahead and test the boat. I think the conditions are well enough. We're gonna kind of test and see how long it takes to set up. Clear some of this stick and brush. Since it's an inflatable boat, we don't need to pop it. And we'll see what we end up getting out there. See you out in the water. All right, you guys, we made it out on the water. Just testing it out. First time, so pretty cool. It's working pretty good. Let's see how well it feels. I mean, I'm not super sturdy, but sturdy enough to where I feel comfortable I can handle a fish or cast. Hey guys, so we're out here on the water giving the boat a try. Okay, wind's kicking a little bit, so it's hard to steer, but here is my first ever fish in the raft. Nice little crappie here at Brush Hollow. Let's put him back there. There he goes. All right. All right, guys, it's called 2 trout, 1 crappie. Crappie on a crankbait. It's just wild to me. All right, everybody, that's the adventure of fishing with Mario. We make a little bass boat out of nothing and make it usable and workable. I hope you guys really enjoyed that video. If you guys did, be sure to give that a thumbs up. If you want to see more fishing videos and a bunch of different species, please be sure to subscribe. Other than that, God bless and keep fishing.